I'm Yvonne Cheney. I belong to Temple Beth Israel and Hadassah, and I'm very pleased today to be sponsored by the Jewish Federation of the San Gabriel and Pomona Valleys. I'm going to be making today a British Hanukkah cake, which has been adapted from a British fruitcake which has long been used in the United Kingdom and possibly other parts of Europe, which is basically the same as the cake I'm making today, except it has a almond marzipan coating plus royal icing. But that's the way it is dressed. Our cake today will not be dressed with those items, but it will still be just as tasty. So today, the ingredients we're going to be using are 3 beaten eggs, butter. The fruit we use are 6 ounces of raisins, 6 ounces of yellow raisins, and 6 ounces of currants. Currants you may not be familiar with too much. A currant is just a small raisin. They're easily obtained at the market. We have butter, brown sugar, ginger ale, and brandy. The flour is we call it, in England they sell self-rising flour, we call it self-raising flour here. You can buy the flour, self-raising flour, but I don't. I buy the regular flour, and I add 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And when you shush it all up like that, it's just exactly the same. Now we're going to start making our cake. Okay, now we are ready for the next step in baking our British Hanukkah cake. We've taken 6 ounces of black raisins, 6 ounces of yellow raisins, and 6 ounces of currants. We've put them in a colander and we've rinsed them well, looking for any little stalks that might be at the end of the raisins. There's usually very few, but you can catch them right away. So you remove them, you drain your fruit well on a paper towel, and then you put it in a nice glass bowl. I like glass because I like to see what's going on. So into that, you are going to pour 1/2 cup of brandy. And you stir it in well, your brandy. After you've stirred it in, you will get some wrap and you will put it, you'd obviously take the spoon out. You will wrap it over here and you will put it into the refrigerator. It will sit there for, I like, a week. Some people might be in a hurry, they could do it 1 or 2 days. I stir it every day, just to get it nice and incorporated. And then after the week, I'm ready for the next step. Our fruit has marinated in the refrigerator. I brought it to the table. I put it into the saucepan. I'm using a saucepan today, but I actually like to use my Instant Pot, which is, you can use it on the saute mode and it does just as fine a job. So into this mixture, we're going to add 7 ounces of unsalted butter, very important. I took 2 sticks, and it's almost 2 sticks, but you just cut off 1 ounce off the end of that. Very simple. As I said, the butter, the brown sugar, and 8 ounces of ginger ale. This is, 6 ounces of ginger ale. You'll have 8 ounces, but you'll just leave 2 in there. Okay? You'll put it in, you'll stir it up really good, incorporate it, and then you're ready to put it on top of the stove. You will cook it until the butter is completely melted and the sugar is incorporated into the mixture. And then you'll know that it's all ready for the next step. But what you will do, you will remove it from the stove, you will put it on a grid and you will cool it. It has to be cooled at least to room temperature because you're going to be adding eggs and you don't want them to curdle. Okay, now our fruit has cooled off. It looks really good. We're going to get our glass bowl and we're going to transfer this mixture. As I get older, I get a bit weaker for lifting these heavy pans. That's why I like the Instant Pot, because it's lighter. But today we're using this lovely saucepan. Right, it's all there. We've beaten up our 3 eggs, so we've got them ready. It won't curdle because the liquid is nice and cool. The mixture is nice and cool. So there we are. We'll mix that in, okay? And then we're going to add our flour, okay? And it gets incorporated. We'll add it a little bit at a time, but it goes in fairly quickly, okay? As soon as it's incorporated, there we are. It's coming nice and it smells good. That's the main thing. And as we all know, when you bake, your brandy or any alcohol you would use burns off anyway. So for those that are worried about alcohol. Okay, now put that there. We're going to spray our pan lightly. That's probably enough. Then we're going to line it with parchment paper, two pieces of parchment paper. All right, that sticks very nicely. And another piece over here, so that will make it very easy for taking out of your pan. Okay. Now we're going to put it in the pan, okay? I'm kind of a Julia Child kind of cook. If it goes over the side of the pan, we don't worry about it. The end result is okay. I don't believe that. Okay, so now we're ready to put it into the oven. And it will be 325 degrees for 90 minutes. But after what I do is, after 1 hour, I check the cake. And if it looks too brown, because dried fruit tends to brown very quickly. And if it looks too brown, then I cover it with a piece of non-stick foil. The non-shiny side is what you put down over it. And so that could be after an hour. But if it doesn't look too brown, wait another 15 minutes. And then cover it up. You can test it after an hour and 15 minutes with the cake tester. And if it comes out dry, you know actually your cake is done. So that would be an hour and 15 minutes. If the cake tester comes out moist, you know your cake's not done. So you do it for another 15 minutes. So the most would be an hour and a half. We're now on our final step of this British Hanukkah cake. It's come out of the oven, it's cooled down, which is very important, of course. We're now getting to the wrapping and feeding with brandy stage. So now I'm going to take this out of the pan. It will be upside down, which is the correct way I want it. I'm going to turn it upside down, like that. Okay. This is coming off, and we can slide it gently like that. Okay, now we're going to take anything skewer, anything that's fine, and we'll pierce the cake. We're going to, it can go all the way to the bottom, it's not a problem. Pierce it as much as you like. There's no, 30, 40 times, you just do it as much as you like. Just keep doing it. And that's probably about right. Now we're going to pour, I've I like to use probably between a quarter and a half a cup of brandy, but you'll see when it soaks through when to stop. Okay, so you see as I'm pouring it, it's going through. Yeah, and then I'll lift it up for you to see properly, but it's going in nicely, which is wonderful because it will be wrapped up. I like to keep it about 6 weeks. I think it's around Hanukkah time. So I start making it whenever Hanukkah is, because it's different every year. Sometimes it's early in December, sometimes later. So we'll keep it wrapped up till we're ready to eat it at Hanukkah time. Some people want to try and get to it sooner. I have to fight them off. So as you can see, we did use about a quarter of a cup, so that's fine. So now I'm going to wrap it initially with this wrap, any brand of course. Okay, so that's wrapped. Now the foil I mentioned before, I wrap directly on the food. Well, this has got the wrap, so it's not quite directly. The non-shiny side is what goes on your food. Okay, so you're going to wrap it like that. I might need some more foil. I probably will. And I'll need some more foil, but it's close enough. So okay, we wrap it well, and we're going to leave it upside down like this is, because the brandy is going to go right through this way, so that when you turn it back up though this way to eat it, it will have gone all the way through. During the process of it being wrapped over the 4 to 6 weeks, I call what I say feeding it. I'll perhaps score it again a few times, and I'll put some more brandy on it. It could be a quarter, a bit less, just to make sure it stays moist. If it looks moist when you open it, then you wouldn't need to feed it more. But it's personal preference how much brandy you like. And so now it's all ready to go into a cool area, I would say. If you do have the cake more than 2 months, I would suggest refrigerating it. But this cake does not need freezing. That would just not be good for the fruitcake. You never freeze a fruitcake as far as I'm concerned. And so there we have it. You've now made, I hope you do, your first British Hanukkah cake.
כל המעשים ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה גדלו וטובו מלא עולם דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו המתקהל על חיות הקודש ונדע בכבוד על המרכבה זכותו משור לפני חיסו חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו יצרם בדעת בבינה ובהשכל כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה נאי זיוום בכל העולם שמחים בצאתם וזזים בבואם עושים בהם הרצון קונם פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמו תחלה ורינה לזכר מלכותו קרא לשמש ויזרע